Hi, this is Wesley,
This is Ka'shenia,
and we would like to welcome you to the
the
Underground Geek Shack.
Underground Geek Shack. Alrighty, guys, it's been a minute, y'all. It's been a minute since we're going to talk about the topic that we're talking about today. Wesley, how are you feeling? I see you on the
Pretty
big.
good. Pretty
You're
good.
on the big screen. Look at you.
The big
As
screen.
as for me, I am in some undisclosed location. Nobody can ever find me. I'm running from the police. Terrible things are happening. I'm just kidding, guys.
Dang.
Actually, in all seriousness, I am out of town, but I really wanted to talk about what's happening right now. And I know I'm
hmm
a little bit late to the party, but hey, Wesley, I know I've
Hi.
been taking over for a minute, but
hmm
do you want to know something?
Sure. What do I want to know?
I've actually read the manga for this part.
Huh. You starting to sound like someone familiar, i.e., me.
So, for those of you who don't know, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about season 4 of My Hero
My Hero
Academia.
Academia.
And I understand
hmm
that it has been almost 3 years since season 4 came out. I'm a little late to the party. I understand there's a whole other season after this.
You got
Trust me,
2 seasons
guys.
you got to still get through.
Trust me, guys. I know. I'm a little bit late to the party, and I completely apologize about that. But I finally watched this, and I have many, many thoughts on it. And like I've mentioned, I've actually read the manga for
Mhm.
this part. So much like Wesley, I joined in on the hype because I'll talk about my journey with it, and Wesley can talk about his journey with it because Wesley, actually, how about we mention you real quick? When it comes to
Okay.
My Hero Academia,
hmm
um, at what point did you start reading the manga? Like you watched the anime first, didn't you?
Yeah, because I started watching the anime first. It was when we didn't know how to say academia, so we called it academia. And so we called it My Hero Academia. And after maybe first 3 to 4 episodes, I was like, all right, cool. Let me see if there's a manga about this. So I found
hmm
the manga through the Shonen Jump app, and I've just been keeping up with it ever since.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I would read the manga, and then whenever we would get like season 2 of the anime, I would go and watch season 2. Just kept my mouth shut every time I was around my brother, and I'm like, "You ain't ready. You ain't ready."
So, all right. I would say so. You were always ahead of the anime whenever it came to content. Like you would always know what
Yeah,
would happen.
yeah.
So let me talk about my journey real quick if you don't mind.
No, go ahead.
So literally I came into the fandom right as season 3 was ending.
Mm-hmm.
So I binged watched like I watched seasons 1 and 3 like back to back. Like I remember
Mm-hmm.
Wesley was like, "Yo, Ka'shenia, you need to watch this anime called My Hero Academia." I was like, "What? My Hero Academia?" I was like, "I've been hearing things about it, and I've seen this Deku character." I was like, "Who's this green-haired boy on the screen?" Because this is what happened. I'll be legitimately honest. I watched
mm-hmm.
not seasons. I watched episodes 1 to 3, and I was somewhat intrigued, but I sat it down for 2 weeks, and then Wesley got on to me again. He was like, "Hey, you need to watch My Hero Academia. It's legitimate. It's lit right now." I was like, "What? What do you mean, dude?"
Did
He's
I
like, "You
actually
just
use the word lit?
no." I'm paraphrasing, of course. But you were giving off so much excitement for it. And I finally gave in. I was like, fine, fine. He was like, just get through season 1. Season 2, you're gonna actually like, become really, really invested in it. Trust me. So towards the end of season 1, I got somewhat invested. I fell for it. And I was like, okay, cool. I had minimal hype for it. I was like, all right, this has caught my interest. Let me continue on. Season 2, oh my god. Oh my god. So much happened. The tournament arc, freaking stain arc. I was invested. So I would literally stay up late. This is during my college years. I would stay up late watching it. Then I'll come in the next day and like during my lunch break, I'll try to like watch an episode or two, and then I see Wesley over there in the corner smiling because he knows what I'm watching, and he's trying to keep his mouth shut because he's like, "Well, actually," I was like, "Wesley, if you give me a spoiler, I will smack you," and then he had to be silenced.
I
I had
think
to
during
silence.
that, I think during that time, during our lunch break, you would be watching it. I would be reading it.
You were so ready to slam down the spoiler hammer, and I'm just kind of like, no, sir, you will not spoil me today. So I'm just kidding. Wesley was just super excited by the fact that I was actually watching it. So I watched that. Then I got to season 3, and I was in an emotional roller coaster because that was the arc where we go to boot camp.
Mhm,
Bakugo gets kidnapped. Then we
mhm.
go and rescue Bakugo, and then there was a big fight against All Might and One for All. Then the way they end off this season with freaking the fight between Deku and Bakugo, I was like, this fight has been leading. There's been the tension between these two has been leading up to this point, and um, I'm just happy by the fact that it finally happened. They finally clashed. They got this over with. I know I'm talking a lot about seasons 1 through 3 right now, but that's because it's just leading up to this point. I already kind of knew a little bit about this because I've heard mentions about this season 4, the overhaul arc. I was so hyped for it. Like everyone else, I was completely hyped for this season. Wesley more so because he already knew what was happening. And that's why after I finished season 3 was the only thing that was out. And I was like, oh my God, I can't wait for the next season. And he was like, you could just read the manga. So guess what I did? I read the manga. I read the manga for this season. And that's when I found out that I was not ready for this season. I legitimately was not ready for this season. Oh no. That's why it took me so long to actually watch it because just reading it broke my heart. Watching it legitimately broke it even more.
Yeah.
So, Wesley, you, like I said, aren't you current with the manga right now?
Yeah.
You're looking to see if if the new chapter dropped.
Yep. New chapter comes out in 24 hours.
Oh my God, look at you. As of recording, chapter what number, Wesley? Come on, give us the number.
Okay, so right now I'm on chapter 376. So I need to read 376, 377. Chapter 378 comes out in 24 hours.
Okay, now put your phone down, Wesley.
I'm sorry.
You're not reading right now.
I know.
We're
I
on
know.
season 4,
I
not on
wanted to
season
make
10.
sure.
We're on season 4, not on season 10 right now.
Look, I wanted to make sure, all right?
But so you're basically current with this. So
Yeah.
tell me, the overhaul arc, isn't this considered the longest arc when it comes to the manga?
Um, from the research I had to do,
Mm-hmm.
the overhaul arc in the manga spans 41 chapters. So that's from chapter 125 to 166.
Okay. All right.
And I legit had to count out 40 chapters
Oh my God.
to make sure.
You're like, I gotta be sure, my dude.
Yeah, I was like, hold up, hold up, hold up. Because I have two ways of doing this. So I was like, all right, all right, all right. Am I sure this is the correct way? Let me actually count. Yep, that's 21. I was like, yep, that's the right number. Cool. We good.
So 41 chapters. This is
Mm-hmm.
41 chapters. And like before this,
Mm-hmm.
I can't give you a quantifiable number, but the fights before these or like the big moments were all like half seasons. This is legitimately the only season where the overhaul arc went over 12 episodes.
Yeah.
Because like it spills into the second half.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I can give you a count. The opening doesn't change until like the last like 10 episodes of season 4. That lets
Yeah.
you know because each opening is an arc, I would say,
Mm-hmm.
in my mind. So yeah, the first one, the one that's been on my mind forever, Polaris. I love the song. It's such a good opening and it's such a good song. And Wesley, I will legitimately tell you, I could not watch the ending portion until I legitimately finished the overhaul arc. Because you want to know why? I feared for Aerie
Mm-hmm.
that when I watched it and I saw the black scribbles, I know people are gonna be like, "What the heck are you talking about?" If I'm talking about the ending, each ending song of the season, just the visuals behind it, it was so impactful because you see Aerie as a kid and she's growing up. Like literally, I saw the black scribbles. I was gonna watch it for the first episode because I always give the first episode rule. I watch all of the opening and I watch all of the ending for the first episode. I could not do it because the moment I saw Aerie pop up as a baby, I instantly went to the next episode because I was like, I cannot handle you right now because I was scared I was going to cry. And technically, the ending spoils. It does.
Well, it spoils on her origin.
It's yes, it spoils on her origin, and it kind of like it spoils a little bit on her power, but it leaves it to the point where we don't know what she does
Yeah.
unless you read the manga. Shut up. Unless you've read the manga, you know what you know what her power does. But like that's the thing about it is the ending spoils, and if I legitimately watched it, like let's say I was going into this only as a solo anime watcher, which I used to be,
As
but
we
I
both
actually read
used
the
to be. Yeah.
yeah. I was a manga reader. I became the well actually I know what's gonna happen in the season because I read the manga. This is the
You
first time I
became
can
what you
legit
sought to destroy.
I became that which I sought to destroy. And I think that is why it took me so long to watch this because I'm pretty sure if I didn't read the manga and I just watched this as this came out,
Mm-hmm.
I I probably would have been upset by watching the ending because the ending does spoil.
Yeah.
And that makes me kind of upset.
I mean,
I
they were
don't
doing their best though. They were doing their
yeah,
best with what they had.
I understand. All right, so let's actually get to talking about season 4. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So not just ending and openings and stuff like that. So would you gladly do us the honors of explaining the overhaul arc? Like just give us a brief summary of the beginning and then we'll talk about everything that happened in the middle to the end of the arc.
Sure.
All right. Here, let me guide
Yakuza.
you. Yakuza.
Yakuza meet League of Villains. Confrontation. Actually, hold up. I put the
Yeah, no.
confrontation on 2 different fingers.
Okay. Well, I mean, two
Two
different
people,
people died.
yeah, 2 people did get murked.
Also,
Um,
can we just say this was the first time we've actually like, or maybe I'm probably misremembering like the beginning seasons. This is the first time we're only in 2 episodes in, and we see people dying.
right,
Like death on screen hasn't happened in this series yet. It has
right.
always been critically injured, but they're okay. They've lost 12 gallons of blood, but guess what? They're in the hospital. They're fine.
Like we had 2 on-screen deaths, all for the fact that Shigaraki does not actually have a set plan in motion. Yes, he wants to destroy things, but that's all that is just a wish.
Yes.
We already learned about the whole conviction thing through Stain. He had
Yes.
he had Stain, he had Moonfish, Muscular, he had all of these big players, and he lost all of them day one patch. I'm sorry.
Day one patch. Day one patch. The devs came out. Was like, we need to nerf this character. Boo.
I mean, I'm not wrong. He pretty much
You're not.
lost all of them.
You're not wrong. And I feel like the way the series is going, every time he's teamed up with a new person, like he
Mhm.
learns something new about how to run a team. He's
Yeah,
learning how to team build.
yeah. And then the fact that Overhaul or Kai Chisaki wants to be, he's like, oh, I'm not interested in the league. I'm more interested in one for all. Well, actually, all for one. That got the role flipped.
The quirk
Yeah,
that Deku has is one
one
for
for
all.
all for one. The big bad of the entire season.
Entire series.
Yeah,
Yes, which now at this point it's shifting to no longer being one for all or all for one,
yeah,
being the main villain. It of course is turning into Shigaraki becoming the main villain.
yeah,
And we see that because he's actually doing more with the League of Villains. Like he's actually participating more. He's no longer just sitting in the background.
yeah. And the fact that now in this certain situation, Overhaul, I'm just gonna call him Overhaul instead of doing the whole Kai Chisaki, Kai Chisaki, Kai Chisaki. Just gonna straight call him Overhaul.
Overhaul. Yeah, that's the name that he came up for himself.
Well, actually, that's his quirk.
And that's well, if you don't remember, he one of his lackeys literally said that's his villain name. He came up with that himself.
Well, I
And he
mean,
literally says, and whenever Lemillion or Deku called him Chisaki, he's like, don't ever
that,
call me by that name.
he'd be like, "That's not my name anymore." Yeah, no, I got you. But the fact that now Overhaul wants to try and run the League of Villains
Yes. But he wants to
alongside,
run,
along with have basically the League of Villains be incorporated into the Yakuza.
yeah, because he wants to go by the Yakuza way.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Overhaul's motivation and why it was so pivotal in this part of the series. Because well, let's talk about this series to begin with. Wesley, what is the main premise of My Hero Academia? If you was to give me like, all right, what is this world? Tell me in 3 seconds. Go.
Outside of superheroes, when a hero is hurt, who is there to save the hero? Point blank
No,
and
Wesley.
simple. I'm sorry.
Wesley, no, you messed it up. No, 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 no. What does Deku say at the beginning of every season?
Oh yeah, you can be a hero.
Wesley, wrong again. This
I
world is
have
made up.
different versions of Deku in this head of mine.
In this world, 80% of the population is born with a quirk.
Born with a power known as quirks.
All right, now, what does Overhaul want to do?
Destroy.
Okay, he specifically, in his words, he wants to cure the world of their hero-ness, bring them back to when before quirks were even there.
Exactly. That's what I was saying.
Oh my god, no you weren't. And you know it. How dare you lie to me like this, boy?
No, but like, he's basically trying to basically just reverse the clock pretty much.
Yes.
Because Overhaul sees everything as a sickness.
Oh, definitely.
So, I mean, and he wears the plate doctor mask.
He always has a mask on.
But it's not just him. Everyone in his whole organization has the plate doctor mask. What you talking about? Even Rappa has a plate doctor mask. He never had that before.
Yeah, like the mask is like their identity.
Yeah.
It's really weird that Chi Hasakai. They
Chia
always
Hasakai?
pronounce Chia Hasakai. Thank you.
No problem.
It's just it's so weird. And Japanese with double consonants is really weird. But anyway, the Chi Hasakai.
Mm-hmm.
It's we see a want to return to the old ways. And this point isn't really brought upon, is not talked about again until we get into the third movie. But we're not going to talk about that third movie. World Order, we're just going to skip over that, okay? Because I'm going to come back to this. No, not World Order, World Mission.
It was like, World Order? What movie were you watching?
World Mission. I remember World, and then there was something else after that. Listen, we're not going to talk
World
about
Heroes Mission.
You know what?
Not World Order.
I will leave this undisclosed location, and I will track you down.
What did Dio just instantly spawn into the movie? The world.
Zero. But so we want to return to where humans were just humans before quirks were a thing.
Because back then, the Yakuza pretty much ran everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yakuza pretty much ran everything. They were more feared than anything else. Then quirks came into effect, superheroes came into effect, and then just the Yakuza became obsolete.
Yes.
In the words of Mr. Compress, what was it? He was like they were like almost extinct.
And that's a very like scary thing. Well, it's scary to overhaul
Mm-hmm.
because that was the way that brought him up. That was how he left the shadows, like left his trash and was given purpose.
Yeah.
And but the way that he wanted to go about it, he was basically wanting to like destroy humanity. Because do you remember what his quote unquote pops said?
It's
Was
been a minute.
you would literally give up your humanity just so because with the plan, so Overhaul's plan, for those of you who don't know, he has the his main boss, I forgot the main boss's name,
I
of
forget
the
too.
Chihasakai. He has a granddaughter. The granddaughter is the girl that we see in the series. Her name is Eri. Eri has a special quirk that everyone misunderstood for the longest time, but she has, but not. I'm not going to talk about Colin Chie or whatever. Overhaul, he studied and he figured out that her quirk reverses time, but she has no control over it, and she can basically, if she can use it correctly, she can revert you back to like nothingness.
Bless you.
Sorry. Thank you.
In the words of Overhaul, she can revert you back to being in the state of a monkey.
Yes,
And
but
in the words of Frieza, you dang monkeys. I'm sorry.
yeah, dang monkey. But it's very scary, and she is a very young little girl, and the way her quirk manifested unfortunately led to the death of her father, which led her mother abandoning her, giving her all of these unfortunate like mental issues because one, she doesn't know how to use her powers,
Mhm.
and so Overhaul knew this, and so he used this to manipulate the girl into being, I'm the one who has to clean up after your messes.
Mhm.
And he says all these things, and she, like, that's the saddest thing about this entire season, is she is just a little girl, and what he's doing to her, he breaks her apart and puts her back together, and in his words, she might not be the same as how she was before.
Yep. And this was on like a daily basis.
Yes. And you see she has bandages all over
All over. Yeah.
her limbs. And then we
Mm-hmm.
even see like a slight glimpse of it every time we saw the cut of the knife.
Yep.
And we see her, like, she can kind of reverse time on herself before where the cuts happen. But it's always there. Like, you can't, to imagine just doing that. This series went to a very really dark place when it came to this, and I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of people were hyped for this. The manga readers were really hyped for this because they wanted to see this on the big screen.
Oh, I know I was.
Anime Solo anime watchers were not ready for this series. Trust me, if I was to come into this without reading the manga, I would not have been ready for what happened
Mm-hmm.
in the first part. And I'm going to say keep saying the first part of this season for a specific reason, because the second half, which I will just say kind of didn't go so well in my mind, but I'll explain more upon that a little bit later.
I
So
mean, there was a good
back.
fight in the second half.
Okay.
I'm gonna just straight up say that. I'm not gonna lie. That was a good fight, though.
Hmm. Okay.
Okay, coming from a manga reader standpoint.
Okay. I'm a manga reader too. At this point, I have not. I've so in all honesty, when it comes to my knowledge of the series, my knowledge stops at the point where there's the mock battles between class 1A and 1B.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my point in the manga.
So at that point, you were just now entering into season 5.
Okay. But it's just, so the overall arc. This was the darkest the series has ever been. We see death on screen
Mm-hmm.
multiple times throughout this series,
Yep.
throughout this season. We see the kids the kids have gone through many trials and tribulations, and it has affected them, but they've always been able to like bounce back. Deku Deku's in his mind as he's always is, because he feels like he has the weight of the world on his shoulders because he is All Might's successor.
Mm-hmm.
But like this season, we see true trauma set in. Like we see what happened during everything that happened at the Chiha Sakai headquarters. Just it's just unbelievable what they done in this season. Like Horikoshi, props to you. You made a really good arc. It's
Oh,
just
this is also the same place where we get a lot of major character development for different characters.
yeah, like it's even like in little bits. Like we actually get to see Kaminari
Mm-hmm.
and his past a little bit. So I've always been curious because
Kirishima.
I
Kirishima.
Kirishima. Did I say
No, you're good.
Kaminari?
Yeah.
I didn't mean to say Kaminari. Kirishima. Like, oh my god. And know that him and Ashido technically went to the same school, but we see Kirishima. Um, oh my god, I just felt so bad for him because we see that even though he always looks like a strong dude and he always looks like, hey, I'm righteous and everything, he actually gets scared and he freezes. And that's something that is constantly on his mind. Before this part of the series, I would have never saw him as that. Like when you read that in the manga, where you saw like he freezes up when he gets scared, what were your thoughts?
Like, considering this moment, right?
Yeah.
It's in during the whole sword and shield fight between Rappa and
Oh,
Kirishima.
it's the spear and the shield.
Yeah, the spear and shield. Why I say sword and shield?
Pokemon.
Yeah. But like it's during that whole, confrontation and everything. And so that's when we actually get the flashback happen, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
was like, at first, because in a manga everything's black and white. So I'm like, who the heck is
Yeah.
this dude? I'm like, who the heck is this dude? Is this a new character that Horikoshi's just trying to throw in? And then it clicked. I was like, oh snap, this is Kirishima.
Yep.
And then I was like, oh, this is heavy
It's
because that's like
very heavy.
it's something that he it's technically baggage he can't let go,
Yes.
and it's
Oh,
like,
I just thought of the symbolism of him coloring his hair.
mm-hmm. And
So it's him covering up his past.
it, I see it more as him trying to cover up his past and still trying to move forward,
Yeah.
and you know so you have that, but then it's also him accepting that part. Like during that fight, he also accepted that part of him too.
That even though he gets scared, as long as he's able to come back, that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And oh my god, just that development. And then gravity.
Mm-hmm.
Um we've always seen Ochiko as a very bubbly, happy girl. To see her in such a grave situation like this is we see true development in her. It shows that even towards the end, where everything happens, and then he and Eraserhead has
Mm-hmm.
that talk with Ochiko, and he's saying, is this what you want to do? Do you still want to do this?
Yeah.
Because we see that she's struggling. She says, I want to help people, but she says it in a wavering voice. This is leading up, and I'm hoping that this point is touched upon again. Because before this, we see Ochiko get stronger with
Mm-hmm.
her internship.
Yeah, the gunhead martial arts.
Yeah, like we see her get physically stronger, being able to do more with her power. Like, yes, she can float, she can make other things float, but what else can you do with that? Well, she said, all right, cool, I don't have to rely on my quirk. I can rely on the other parts of my body, like martial arts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when it came to this, we see her truly challenged with something grave. We see her in a hero situation, the same as Sui or
Mm-hmm.
Sue,
So yeah.
because like it's just you see all these kids in an actual grave situation. We're used to seeing Deku in a grave
Hmm.
situation. That's his whole shtick. We're used to him breaking his body and being mentally scarred. But to see the other students, and you have to still remember, at this point in the anime, they're all still first years
Yeah.
in high school.
Oh yeah. Because
Literally,
remember, I was gonna say
they're
because
only like,
remember,
oh yeah,
Aizawa was he's like originally I was just gonna have all of you not all of your crap. What was it? It was not their internships, their work studies.
their work
He
studies.
was gonna have all their work studies be suspended.
Yeah, for first years.
Yeah.
Because think about it, Wesley. Uh, in Japan, when it comes to first years, they're about 14 to 15 years old.
Oh, that's a lot of that. Man, like, and you're not used to seeing death. You're not. You're not.
These,
You're not
yeah,
used to going in to these high octane fights and everything. Yeah, you had a little skirmish here and there with one of your classmates, but that's just a skirmish. You didn't kill him.
these students
Like
has
yo. And then the
they've
fact that they have to
experienced,
they have to experience this and watch all of this stuff right in front of them, and then
and it's
just
just
be
these
expected
students
just to be like, oh, okay, everything's all hunky dory. No,
like,
that ain't.
and it is so when it comes to the overhaul arc, the main spotlight,
Mm-hmm.
and I really like how they did this. They kept the spotlight not on class 1A because so far a lot of the stuff that has happened, like the heaviest stuff that happened before this
Mm-hmm.
was the kidnapping of Bakugo and the attack at the boot camp.
Yeah.
Like that was their kind of real first taste against villains.
Yeah. Second taste.
Well, second taste.
Yeah.
But during the first one, they didn't really fight back. They more or less did use their quirks to get away.
Yeah.
So they were kind of like getting away and waiting for the pro heroes to step in. The second one, no pro heroes could save them, so they used what they could to protect themselves.
Yeah.
But still, the one who gained the most action is Deku.
Yeah.
But this is now we're going into season 4, or going past season 4.
Mm-hmm.
The ones who have actually experienced true experience on the battlefield. We
Yeah.
have Froppy, we have Uravity, we have Kirishima or
Mm-hmm.
Red Riot, we have Deku, and we have
You can't forget
the big
about the big
three.
three. Yeah. You got
Yeah,
Mirio, you got Sun Eater, you got Tamaki, and then you also have Nejire too.
yes. So we have three or eight, sorry, we have 8 UA students. Only 4 of them are first years. They are only 14 or 15 years old.
Mm-hmm.
The big 3, they're like 17 or 18. They're almost adults.
Yeah.
Like that's just mind blowing to me that these kids have experienced more life and they're literally just in their first year of high school.
Right.
But we do see how this is affecting them
Mm-hmm.
because they came. Imagine being a young kid when you say, I want to be a hero. You don't think about the dark side of heroism.
Right.
These kids have experienced that. They saw, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to have to the death of Sir Night Eye. We were literally introduced to Sir Night Eye at the beginning of this season, and he died midway through this season.
Well, we also did gain a lot of stuff from
Yeah.
Sir Night Eye, because this is actually where a lot of the ground hitting stuff comes in, like the fact of, oh, Deku was not a worthy successor. In Night Eye's
Yes.
eyes, Deku was not a worthy successor. Deku should have never had one for all.
That's when
Mirio
the
was the one
perspective
who,
shifted, yeah,
yeah,
on Mirio. But then you see towards the end where, yeah, he was bringing up Mirio to be All Might's successor, but then he literally saw him as his prodigy. He saw him as his pride and joy. Like at his deathbed, all that he said about Mirio made me realize that he's not like a cold, calculative person as everyone else thinks he is.
right,
He is, and you can tell that because his subordinates adore him.
right,
And I'm going to tear up right now because the death of Sir Night Eye was the hardest thing that hit me because I legitimately saw another side of him. even though this was the only time we got to experience with him,
Mm-hmm.
you see that he was truly loved
Yeah.
because of how everyone else was reacting, especially his subordinates.
Yeah. Also, speaking of his subordinates, two of them are fan characters, right?
Oh yeah, I know about Bubble Girl being a fan character, and I can
No,
kind of see Centipede.
it's not just Bubble Girl.
I know
It,
Centipede.
yeah, because for those of you who don't know, but back when the manga was back at this point, Horikoshi had a contest, and he said whoever wins the contest will their characters will be featured in the next couple chapters of the manga. And so one person won and they created Bubble Girl, and the other person won, they created Centipede.
That is
And
actually
so
so cool.
that's how those two got put into Cernade's agency.
And you know what's so funny? They're put into the manga and they're like, yo, this is really cool. But then to be then put into an anime, they must be living it up right now. Like just in their minds, their whole morale has to be shot up. They're like, I was legitimately in an anime. And I know I'm saying I as if they were personally in it, but like
Yeah,
their creations is a part of them. So to
yeah,
see that in a feature like that is like, I wish I knew about this. I wish I was into the manga and stuff at this point in the time. I would have submitted a character.
shoot, even I would have. I mean, my drawing skills ain't that good, but I at least would have tried.
That's just, oh my God. Oh man, I wish I got to the series a little bit earlier then. Oh, I could have, oh no. I'm so upset with myself. Oh my God, that's so cool. Oh, that's so cool. I'm just, oh my God. I'm sorry. But getting back onto point. So I am giving the series a lot of praise. I want to give it one more praise
Mm-hmm.
before I talk about the cons.
Okay, infinite
I
100%.
if an infinite 100%, that's honestly a really cool thing that we saw where he was literally able to go out of, he was able to push his body past his breaking point over and over again because of Aries' quirk.
Mm-hmm.
But another thing I wanted to say was I started this season hating
Hating who?
Overhaul.
Oh,
Overhaul.
oh, I thought you were about to say hating Deku. I was about to be like,
No,
for
no, no,
what?
no, 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 no. But I felt sympathy for Overhaul when he lost his work. Because think about it. Uh, I don't know if you remember much about this because you did say it was a while since you've seen the anime, but remember the big boss. So Overhaul
Yeah, because Overhaul
himself,
was the one who put him in that state.
and he said, "Don't worry, when this is all over, I'm going to put you back together
Mm-hmm.
so that you can see this through to the end." Like at first, I thought what happened to the big boss was like a natural thing. To know that Overhaul did it himself is sad, but now seeing that he can never bring him back, and the scream that he lets out after he realizes that
Mm-hmm.
is the most terrifying thing because then he realized how much he has messed up.
Mm-hmm.
Like that destroyed me. Just knowing, because you can see, okay, there's so much emotion in that one scene. So what I'm talking about is after Overhaul gets defeated and he's on his way to the villain hospital,
Mm-hmm.
the League of Villains attack. Shigaraki comes back and he attacks the thing. He attacks.
Oh yeah, yeah. He attacks the ambulance that overhauls in, and you know, heroes are there. Heroes get taken out. Everything's in disarray. They walk over to Overhaul, and Shigaraki takes the quick destroying bullets, and then he is like, "Oh, one more thing," and then he places all of his five fingers onto Overhaul's wrist,
Yeah.
and basically just breaks off his arms, well, his hands, pretty much.
So he starts to use
And
his quirk and he said, well, first he says, a person who wants to destroy quirks so badly, he shouldn't have one of his own. And he's like, oh, watch out. If you don't get rid of that hand, it could destroy your whole body. Because literally Shigaraki Well, so Overhaul said, "Are you here to kill me?" Shigaraki said, "No, I'm not here to do that. I'm here to do something much worse." And he said, "I'm here to take what you value so much."
Yep.
And so he took the bullets, and then Compress takes not Shigaraki. He takes Overhaul's left hand, which is the one he uses to destroy.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's when he says, "Here for the arm," because he
Right.
made Compress lose his arm.
Yeah.
So, and then we go over to Shigaraki, places all five fingers on the right arm, which he
Mm-hmm.
uses to recreate.
Yeah.
And that's when Overall realizes what happened. He's like, if you don't watch out, you're gonna lose that arm, and you'll just have your whole body destroyed. Shigaraki cuts off that arm, and he says, "Look, now you don't even have a thumb to suck on." And then the realization kicks in, and I felt at that moment I felt bad for Overhaul because he is realizing that he will never be able to make it up. Like he will forever live with that guilt. And I feel like that's worse than any punishment
Oh yeah.
is realizing how much you truly have screwed up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I see that too. Just that that hurts me. So, talking about that,
Mm-hmm.
let's go on to the cons. I've given this season so many praise. Now it's time for me to bring up the cons.
Okay.
As most of y'all have known, when this season came out was during the Michael Jackson tour, is
Mm-hmm.
what we're calling it. The tour of Mugen. Mugen's Michael Jackson reunion tour. This came out in 2020 during the Michael Jackson Union tour, and that has affected things.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of controversy when this first came out because of the Mugen tour. Uh, People couldn't record the way that they used to, so this wasn't simulcast. This series has always been simulcast past season 2 and 3. Like every time each episode came out, it always came out in English and Japanese,
Yeah.
so that everybody could enjoy it at the same time. Because this was just a really beloved series. Um, I don't know about the Japanese dub. It's probably really good. It's probably, it probably makes sense. Uh, I just watched the English dub ever since a certain somebody told me I needed to watch it with a lot of enthusiasm.
And the sub's still good too. I'm not gonna lie.
Shut up. So the English dub wasn't bad. There are a few parts where line delivery, I wish they had a little bit more time to work on line delivery. One specific line that pops into my mind, and Wesley, you can put your input on this too,
Mm-hmm.
was the way that not Fight Gum,
Fat
Fat
Gum.
Gum said, he was like, "Hi everyone, I'm Fat Gum. Do you want some candy?"
Yeah.
Oh no. Yeah. So
Because
Ochiko
it was when
and
he was talking about Ochiko and Froppy.
Ochiko and Froppy was like, "Oh my god, he looks so cute," and he's like, "Hi, I'm Fat Gum. Who wants candy?" Like that was a really awkward line.
Yeah.
There was a couple other examples, but what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, I kind of get why, but it's the fact of like, because after he says that, he uses the same candy to like, talk about the cork destroying bullets and everything like that. Um, but I mean, like,
That line delivery though.
yeah, that line delivery though.
It it's I wish second take was done because it felt so disjointed. And there was a couple of moments, and that was because people couldn't be together because they were so excited about the Mugen the Mugen tour that they couldn't like be in the recording studio at one point. Because I don't know how Funimation does their voice dubbing. I want to say they do a couple of group sessions where, like, if there's like a dialogue between two people, they're probably in the same room being able to talk.
With some of them that I've seen through YouTube, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not like I actually go or couldn't go anyway. But from what I've seen from YouTube is that like they would have one person in one booth, they do their lines, and then the next person would come in, and then they would replay over, so then the person would hear their reaction or what they would say, and then they would do their speaking part.
It's just a couple of these. It's just a couple of the dialogue just felt really off jointed. Animation overall was pretty good, but there was a couple moments where it fell. But it's always been like that for this
Uh,
series. So
one thing I was gonna ask you was, so how did you feel when it came to Mirio losing his quirk,
oh, okay,
and that
okay,
that whole
okay. So we're gonna talk about
scene?
that now.
Yeah.
Okay, yikes. That was bad.
Mm-hmm.
That was bad. Like, I remember watching that and I thought to myself, this is bad. Why didn't they did no animation? Because that fight in the manga was a very pivotal point. Even though Muriel lost his quirk and he knew he lost his quirk, he still fought. There was so much action within that scene. Like, it makes me upset that they took the biggest part of that whole plot and they stripped it down to a freaking to a slideshow. A
Right?
slideshow. Ooh, that made my blood boil. I felt legitimately upset about that part. Like that part, that was bad. Now, what are your thoughts on that?
Um, I, in all honesty, didn't like it. I like coming from the manga when it said that he fought tirelessly without a quirk and still using all the moves that Night Eye had taught him, about prediction.
Yeah.
I wanted to see that. And then jumping straight into the anime, and then all I get are slideshow clips. And that just broke my immersion. Like, in
Yeah.
all honesty. Like, because then you're like, well, what the heck is this? Like,
Cause what made
you actually want to see Miria throwing those hands, but you can't because
and
it's in a slideshow and it just hurt.
cause you know what made me sad is
Hmm.
the fact that okay, so right after that, Deku's turn.
Mm,
Deku's fight was beautifully animated.
right?
Now, why couldn't we get that same treatment for Mirio's fight?
Like,
Like
dang.
that, oh, I Studio Bones, you've done really good work. I've seen your good work.
You did
You
excellent work when it came to the Infinite 100%.
now, why could you give 100%, infinite 100%, like that same treatment for the fight with Mirio after he lost his quirk? I don't understand. I don't understand the thought process behind that. Maybe it was to save on time, maybe to save on budget. Mugen's world tour, yeah, it was really, really exciting. And maybe you needed to push out. A part of me thinks, what if this was a movie
Mm-hmm.
instead of in the anime? But then again, I can't see it as a movie because so much has happened during this arc that this arc couldn't be contained in one movie, and I'm glad they didn't turn it into a movie. So much happened in this arc, but
This was also the first time that we got actual lyrics to Might You.
yeah, like oh my god, don't even get me started on that. I love every moment of that song. The way that song overpowered that scene. Oh my god, I cried. I shedded so many tears. But I'm just still caught up on that whole fight, man. I'm just so upset because the episode was called Lemillion.
Mm-hmm.
Lemillion had his whole entire episode. You know what? They should have just made the overhaul arc all of season 4. If that's the case, or just make this like a 16 episode season. Now I know that would have been off kilter to how the series was going. But I mean, first season was just 12 episodes.
Mm-hmm. True.
This season could have just been 16 episodes. So more attention would have been put on that fight. Anyway, I'm 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 disappointed by how they did that fight between freaking Overhaul and Lemillion.
But
But
the
they
school
put so
festival was
much.
fun.
So I do know that the thing that is supposed to be most excited about is the culture festival, because in the culture festival, first off, Eri comes back,
Mm-hmm.
Mirio comes back. They both
Mm-hmm.
come back. Mirio is kind of the pseudo guardian of Eri, as well as Aizawa. Like a lot of the fandom when this happened in the anime, I remember the fandom became, all right, Aizawa adopted a child. He is now a father.
Yep.
Like that was the fandom of this entire series.
And then
Uh,
like I mainly saw Muriel more as like a big brother to Eri.
yeah.
Kind of saw both Deku and Muriel as big brothers to Eri. So
And we see her smile and have fun for the very first time.
right.
But let me tell you. So when it came to this, I've lost interest because the overhaul arc happened. It was such a hype thing.
Mm-hmm.
So second half of the season, which isn't really even like a half,
Mm-hmm.
it's just the second part of the season. It dulls in comparison. Because let me give you a quick timeline as to what happens in the second half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Bakugo and Todoroki goes and gets their provisional license. Finally.
Finally.
School festival is starting and there's prep for it. Jiro
No, Jiro.
Jiro is asked to sing. And then we
Mm-hmm.
hear her sing and everyone's just like, whoa, that's freaking awesome.
Using the
Uh
same vocalist for the Might You.
oh my god. And then Deku and Gentle has a fight. I can't remember exactly what brings about this fight.
The fight between Gentle and La Brava
Like it
versus
happened so Deku went out to go get something. It happened so randomly. Like he was literally just on his way back to the dorms.
technically
He
it didn't
he was
just happen because okay, I'm gonna give you you want chapter numbers.
just no, don't give me chapter numbers. Give me like the quick rundown as to what
All right,
starts the
quick
fight.
quick rundown is everyone's they're at the dorm and everything, and they're trying to figure out what they want to do for the for class 1A's portion of the festival.
Yeah.
And so they're looking things up on YouTube, and then apparently Deku's looking something up on YouTube, and then one of Gentle's videos pops up. So it's not this just happens. It's
Okay.
just he's Deku didn't even realize that he was watching a Gentle video, and then it flips over to what Gentle and LaBrava are doing, and Gentle is terrible at making videos. LaBrava comes in to help. LaBrava's a huge
Yeah.
fangirl, and next thing you know, LaBrava is like, "Oh, let's hack into UA," and
Okay.
and so Gentle being the kind of villain type Robin Hood type. I don't even know what the heck Gentle is at this point.
Yeah.
He's a misunderstood guy. We'll just say that.
Yeah.
And
What
um
was his quirk again? I can't.
oh man, he has such a good quirk. So his quirk was like it's like a anything he touches can be turned into rubber. So it's like a trampoline. So like uh he can basically like okay. I'm just gonna just jump straight into the fight between Gentle and Brava real quick.
Okay. Okay.
So the fight happens because Deku goes and he's like, okay, I'm at this tea shop thing. He's basically running errands for people at in 1A.
Yeah.
So he's running errands, getting all the supplies they need for the I was about to say sports festival for the school festival,
Yeah.
and um he bumps into Gentle and Brava, but they are
Mm.
like in disguise and everything, and so Gentle's like, okay, let's go, and Brava's like, okay, sweetie, let's get out of here. And so as they're leaving, Deku's like, hold up, stop, where are you two headed? And
Nope.
then they're like, "Oh, well, we're just going back home." And he's like, "But that's in the direction of UA. Where?
Dun
Why?
dun
Why?"
dun.
And he's like, "Why are you going to my school?" And then this whole fight breaks out, and Deku jumps in, because this is when he actually has his Air Force gloves, and he jumps in, he goes into fight, and then he immediately hits a wall of rubber,
Oh my god.
and then he just gets shot. He gets slingshot back to where he came, and
What the heck?
so Gentle is running with La Brava, so he has La Brava on his shoulders,
Oh my
and so
god.
he's jumping from air pocket to air pocket on rubber.
Wait, isn't this when Deku discovers Air Force? No, I'm thinking
No,
about the
no, this
movie.
is no. It is because that's when he starts doing the finger flicks for Air Force,
Air Force.
and so that's Gentle is the first person, criminal wise, that is actually able to, who actually takes on these, you know, mid to long range attacks.
Yeah.
And so he's the first one that you actually sympathize with from Deku's point of view.
Oof.
Because Deku's like, I could have ended up like you.
Oh,
And
yikes.
because the thing is that Gentle only turned to a life of villainy because he wanted to be a hero at first, right?
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to be a hero. Somebody was falling from a scaffolding thing. And so Gentle used his quirk. And so when he used his quirk, there was a flying hero he was swooping in to save the civilian, ends up hitting the rubber that Gentle created, slingshotting him to the ground, breaking a couple of the hero's ribs. And
Ooh.
then the civilian falls, hits the rubber, and so he thinks he's safe, but he hits the rubber, bounces off the rubber, hits the ground, and then the scaffolding hits the rubber, and then falls on top of the civilian, killing the civilian.
No. No.
And then he's like, he goes back home, like he's sad about this, so
Yes.
he goes back home, and then his mother ends up abusing him and everything, and then he goes out for a walk and everything, trying to clear his head, and he runs into an old classmate of his, um who is now at UA, who is actually, a full-time hero now, and the classmate looks at him, he goes, who are you again?
Oh. So actually, okay. So I'll let me confess, I didn't watch this part in the anime.
Mm-hmm.
It's just mainly because of what happened. Um Life got really busy for me, but I was able to watch everything up to this point. But oh my God, that
Yeah.
now I'm kind of sad I didn't watch it. Okay, so this fight wasn't just a throwaway fight,
Mm-mm.
but unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people didn't really pay much attention to it just
Mm-hmm.
because like overhaul was such a big thing and everyone was just kind of like, all right, cool, on to the next. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah, I got you. But then it's also the fact of, like, you get introduced to Gentle and La Brava, and you're like, YouTubers.
YouTuber influencers.
Right? And then it's just interesting because you're like, well, what the heck is La Brava's quirk? Because you're like, well, it can't just be that she's good with technology. So basically, her quirk is about love. So anyone that she actually loves and actually cares for basically boosts them strength wise.
Oh my God.
So it gives
She's a support role in and of herself.
literally she's
She's a
she's the support
paladin.
role. And so, like, since she loves Gentle, it gives basically, because at this point Deku's already taken out Gentle and La Brava, and so he has both of them, trying to restrain them and everything, trying to wait for uh ectoplasm and one of the other heroes to arrive, and then
Mhm.
La Brava's like, Gentle, I love you, I want you to defeat, you know this hero. They know who Deku is because they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you're the kid from the sports festival.
That's what everyone calls him. Is like you're the kid from the sports festival.
Yeah. And so she wants Gentle to, beat Deku. And so Gentle was like, at first, it like in the anime, it's like, all right, there's nothing that's gonna be weird about this, right? And then all you just see is like this like pink heat wave start coming off of Gentle, and you're like, my dude, are you about to go Super Saiyan? What the heck is going on? And Gentle, like his strength just increases, and so he actually is able to like get Deku off of him, and then the fight just happens again. And so they actually lock arms with each other, and they're just like, Gentle's like, "Look, I'm sorry, lad. I have to take you down."
Oh
And
my god.
Deku's like, "No, you're not getting anywhere near my school. You're not gonna hurt my friends. We've worked so hard for this." And you know, by this point, he already takes him out and everything. And then Ectoplasm and all the other uh
Bro
heroes come in.
heroes.
Yeah, they come in, and Ectoplasm looks at Deku and he goes, you do realize that your class is about to be up next, right? And Deku's like, oh snap, I gotta get out of here. And then Ectoplasm's like, not like that. You look like a fool. Go get changed.
Oh my god. Yeah, I remember because he's part of the
So
So but yeah, that's what I mean is like I read this part of the manga and I've read up to this point and I've read past this point.
mm,
So I do know what happens. And you know, on my own time I am going to watch the rest of this because I do need to watch the rest of this. I just forgot that part about Gentle. Literally, it's just
and the interesting thing is that, like, after they get taken in, they go to, because they're actually wondering who these two are, right?
yeah.
And so Gentle comes up with this plan. He's like, oh, just take me in. The girl had nothing to do with it. I brainwashed her. Da 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 da. He's talking about Librava.
Yeah.
And but Labrava's just like, no, I'm part of this. I love Gentle, and all she keeps saying is, Gentle, I love you, Gentle, I love you. And everyone's like, all right, you brainwashed her. That's assertive by the way she's acting. And
Yeah.
so they get taken into, they don't technically, they go to jail, but like before they go to jail, they talk with one of the police officers and everything. And the police officer's like, all right, look, we're starting something new. You can be a hero, you can help us, or we can just send you straight to jail. And
And
so
this is what Gentle always wanted was the chance to become a hero.
And so, yeah, I mean, he ends up getting sent to prison anyway. He still has to serve his time,
Yeah.
but you know, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
But then
Nice,
that's how
nice.
that whole arc ends. But then we still go back to the the festival and everything because we got to wrap everything up with Aerie.
Yeah. And then after Aerie, like, oh man, just seeing her smile, like even like in the manga, like I've only seen it in the manga,
Mm-hmm.
seeing her smile because you see Mirio, he's having like a dark moment. He's thinking about everything that has just happened to him. But then he looks up and he sees Aerie smiling and
Right?
laughing and like just enjoying the atmosphere.
Because
And you see,
at that point, I didn't mean to cut you off,
no, you're
but
good.
like at that point when she actually starts smiling, it's a genuine smile.
Yeah,
And it's the fact of that's how you know that the overhaul arc is over, because
yeah.
overhaul still had a hand, you know
Because
what it,
Aerie was broken like
yeah,
mentally.
because like he still had a hand within, you know everything that he did to Ares still manifested within Ares' mind.
Yeah,
And then the only way to get rid of that was to bring joy to
yeah.
what was going on for Aerie. So, I mean, in my mind, and to me, I liked it. I thought
Oh,
it was a good conclusion and a good wrap up to everything that had happened for Aerie.
oh, definitely. Like even me just reading it, it's like just seeing the joy that finally is like on her face. And I'm just like, she is finally happy. This is all that I've only wanted for this child was for her to finally be happy.
Yeah,
And seeing Mirio realize that and realize that there is a bright future ahead. because he was going through a dark time. A lot has happened to him, and he had to keep smiling. And
Mm-hmm.
he has to like pretend nothing is wrong. He had to continue to be brave and strong. But to then see Aries smile was then when he realized, hey, I saved one person. I can
Yeah.
save more.
Yeah.
Like that, oh my God. Ah, that was such a great way. I'm just ah. So now that season 4 is over, it's been over. It's been over for a very long time. And the way that season 4 ended was we see that the hero billboard, the hero ranking system was redone and
Mm-hmm.
everything. So we get to see who the new top 3 was. Endeavor is no longer 2, he's 1. And he's upset about it
Mm-hmm.
because this was not how he wanted to become the top hero of the world.
Yeah.
He wanted to fight his way to the top, not just be given, not it be given to him in such a pathetic, in his mind, in a pathetic way.
Yeah.
So he was given number 1 spot. Uh, who is number 2 and 3? Because I know that they
Number 2 is Hawks, and number 3 is Best Genius.
best genus. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So he's not dead. I assumed he was
Because
dead
like in
after what
the in
happened.
the in the Billboard ranking, it still has him up there. Oh, either it's Best Genius or it's Mirko. It's one of the two. One of those two.
Wait, Mirko is the rabbit girl that I've been seeing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Good to know that I know who I'm talking about. But yeah, so now, so was there a lot of hype going into? I'm gonna ask you this because I know this is like a spoiler for me. I know a
Mhm,
little bit, very, very little bit about season 5 because
mhm.
season 6 is currently coming out right now, right?
Season 6 is still coming out. I was just watching the latest episode today.
Oh my God. Okay. So, tell me, was there a lot of hype going into season 5? Or is it like one of those, okay, season 5 is happening?
No. Crap. I'm trying to remember now. The start of
That's
season 5. Oh, that's right. Because in the start of season 5, we didn't actually, because you know how they do a um like next time.
yeah.
Da, 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 da. Oh yeah, that's right. They didn't do it for that for season 4.
Oh, they didn't do like for
Well,
next time. I
they
know.
kind of
So
no,
on
because season
Crunchyroll,
5 is going into season 5 is doing the joint training arc between Class A and Class B.
okay, interesting.
Yeah.
So like what I was gonna say was I know that at the end of season 4 there is 2 OVAs. It's listed on Crunchyroll. There's 2 OVAs that happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I didn't, like I said, I didn't get to watch this, but
Yeah,
the
neither
2
did I.
OVAs, the OVAs are called Make It, Do or Die Survival Training, and it's part 1 and part 2.
I remember that one.
So is this just like a throwaway episode? Because I'm
Those
pretty sure
are
this isn't in the manga.
those are not in the manga.
Is this a lead up to the next movie?
No. I
Because
wish it was.
when did the second movie come out? It came out after season 4.
Yeah.
Was it in the middle of season 5 when it came out?
I think it was it in the middle of season? Yeah, I think it was in the middle of season 5. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I think so. Yeah. Because we that was the whole Endeavor. Yeah. The Endeavor thing. Yeah. All right. Sorry.
No, no, you're fine. Because I'm just thinking really hard. Because like I said, I don't remember. My knowledge is starting to become very limited as to what happens next.
Because we get the joint training arc, and then we get the Endeavor stuff. So yeah, and then he fights a Nomu.
A Nomu's come back. Yo. But so let's say, okay, so this is what I have to say about season four. Season four started out with a bang,
Mm-hmm.
kind of goes out a little bit with a whimper,
Mm-hmm.
only because of everything that's happened in the first half of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not Studio Bones' fault. They're literally just following the manga at this point.
Yeah.
I've heard now my hype for seasons 5 and 6. I'm slightly a little bit nervous about it because I've been
Well,
hearing some controversies about how they're handling 5 and 6.
all right. 5, I can understand. 6, though. 6 is going in.
Oh, it is
Only controversy I've heard so far is because of a blue sky.
a blue sky.
A blue sky.
Is this a
That's
code
it.
name?
That's it. That's everything I've heard. And this is coming from someone who doesn't have a Twitter.
Oh my god. Is I thought somebody said like they're not following the manga as they have been,
No, it's
or
like
they're switching up events.
they are. No, that's season 5. Season, but they were switching up events.
Oh god.
Or was it? It's the My Villain Academia. It's when they started switching things up. Yeah, because they switched the My Villain and the Endeavor Agency. They flipped
Whoa,
those
what?
two.
Whoa, what?
Yeah, yeah, they
My
flipped those
villain
two.
academia.
Oh yeah, yeah. The villains actually get a focus this time.
Well, I know that there is something that happens with the villains. I've heard that Twice gets a power up and that Togata, not Togato,
Yes,
uh,
Tokata.
Toga,
Toga.
Toga, Toga gets a upgrade as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, now I'm scared.
Oh.
Well, I know. I also know that Shigaraki gets an upgrade, and he finally loses the hand on his face. We get rid of that.
Yeah.
But so I have to say, this was by far one of my most favorite seasons in any anime so far. It's mostly because of everything that's happened. I will have to finish
Mm-hmm.
see the anime of season 5 on my own time because, like I said, I've read this.
Mm-hmm.
I know what happens, but it's been a while since I did read it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
now we're focusing, I guess, a little bit more on Endeavor and what happened. Because, okay, I'll admit, TikTok spoils. I saw a TikTok and it was making a joke. It was something about when Endeavor is hyping up the kids, and I guess they're gonna fight against Shigaraki.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me what happens, because I know how you like. I know what you like to do. I see that smile. Hush your mouth, boy.
That's why I haven't said anything.
So now I'm gonna have to get back into My Hero Academia, watch 5 and 6,
Mm-hmm.
finish 4, watch 5, and I don't know. I want to wait until 6 is done releasing. How many episodes of 6 is out right now as of this moment?
Let me take a look.
Because it's on Crunchyroll. I do know that.
Yeah, it's on Crunchyroll. I don't have Crunchyroll.
I do
I
though.
probably should get Crunchyroll.
I have it. I have it to where I can watch premium episodes. My wallet hates me.
6.
There's only 6 episodes? Dang. Well, I guess it really did. So it's gonna be a minute before I start season 6, but that's fine because you wanna know why? There are other anime that we are going to watch.
Yep.
And so I guess the best way to end off this episode would be name off your favorite moment and why.
Uh of season 4, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, okay. I was about to jump straight ahead. I had to stop myself real quick.
Season 4.
Of season 4.
I'll
Uh,
tell you mine. You wanna know my favorite moment?
hmm.
Will you marry me? When Twice and Toga are in the secret hideout and Twice is about to lose his mind. He's about to freak out because his mask got torn.
Yeah.
And he was freaking out, and then Toga came in and kind of saved the day. And he was like, "Marry me." He said, "Wifey."
Oh man.
The interaction. I realized the interaction between Toga and Twice,
Mm-hmm.
like you see it in the opening that they reach for each other and they truly do depend for each other. And I thought that was such a throwaway thing. But seeing how they are in this season together, oh my god. That is terrifying.
Oh
Also, the
man.
part where Confession used his quirk on twice, and Toga's like, "Really? That's so weak." And then he used his on Toga, and it says like, "See." She just turns and looks, and he's like, "See, told you it wasn't my fault."
Oh
I
man,
lost everything.
I think my favorite moment, because I like the stuff with Mirio, I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah.
but I think what I really liked was the fight between Gentle and Deku.
Okay.
Just seeing
And you know what?
that contrast between both of them.
Hear Hearing it again,
Hmm.
yes, that is a fight, and I love that because it's a fight of ideals. It's a fight of two realities.
Right.
What could have happened?
Hmm.
Like what happened versus what could have happened. You see that in two different characters, and that's honestly really, really cool. So, like I said, I am gonna have to watch this because
Yeah.
reading it, I don't remember much from it because I was trying to like breeze through it because I was like, okay, cool, whatever. It's not the overhaul arc. I just want to get to the festival. I feel bad going over it like that simpler right now. I think that's a great way to end. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really glad that you talked me into watching, getting back into My Hero Academia. My love for it is growing again, so I will have to get back into it.
No problem.
Uh,
Hopefully one day we can get through season 5 and 6 together.
yeah, and we can talk about it and then theorize what's gonna happen. You already know what's gonna happen. I know spoilers, a lot of big spoilers apparently. I'm not gonna mention them here because it broke my heart when I found out about them. But anyway, uh, thank you all for coming.
And we hope you've enjoyed listening to
The
the
Underground
Underground Geek Shack.
Geek Shack. Bye, guys.
See you guys.
Maestro.